Okay. It's a bit of a long story, but it started first with my exposure in 1978 to a Davao-based theater group called Kulturang Atin. One of the people who invited me to Davao is my good friend, my old classmate who's now a musician, si Joey Ayala. And he was very much involved in Kulturang Atin. And myself, having come from about 5 years of studying to be a visual artist, got kind of rejuvenated with the idea of community. So, ang kagandahan ng Kulturang Atin, it was basically a theater group. And me having come from a practice that was being taught to be done basically alone, parang na-excited ulit ako sa idea. And therefore, when I came back to Manila in June of 1978, parang marami akong mga impulses to try to get more collective action going between our friends. Pero siyempre, ano yun, no? Kakaiba yun. And then in September of 1978, nagtawag ang Art Association of the Philippines for Ayala Museum 3 na magtatayo sila ng, magtatatag sila ng experimental art exhibition. So, kinausap ko yung mga kaklase ko, sabi ko, look, experimental eh. Una, umalis tayo dun sa dati nating gawain. Umalis tayo sa pagiging solo. Would you like to do something that's like an action? Would you like to do an action that's kind of critical, analytical? Kasi ang point ng blind leading the blind, meron rin akong sariling bias eh. Ang bias ko is I didn't actually like pure abstraction. Ang feeling ko na ubos na ang pure abstraction eh. So sabi ko, how can one still keep doing pure abstraction? It's as if you were blind to reality. Yun yung parang conceptual na nasa underpinning nun. And then I proposed this to my classmates. Sabi naman nila, sige, sali tayo. Pero anong gagawin natin? So pinag-usapan namin yung konsepto. And sabi ko, ito gawin natin. Mag-iisip tayo, maglalagay tayo on the record ng isang ideyang gusto nating gawin in non-objective form. At gagawin natin sa na hindi natin sa nakikita. So, parang na-excited sila. Na-excited sila sa idea. But remember, there is no such thing as being exempted from the national situation. Ako personally, yung national situation, as far as I was concerned, I was already a member of Kaisahan by this time. I was joining Kaisahan. Kaisahan was founded in 1975. I was hesitant to join it in the beginning because there were too many members. But by 1977-78, naging parang 16 hanggang 18 na lang yung membro. I became quite happy to see that these were the consistent people who'd stayed behind. And sabi ko, mukhang okay yung grupo nila kasi nag-stay behind ito mga taong ito. From a bandwagon effect of 300. These people like sila, Biboy de Lotavo, Habulan, Joe Quaresma, Adibayan Santos, the then living William Swinton, si Vin Toledo na buhay pa dati, Almanrique, ganyan. So, yan yung core ng SR noon at sila yung naiwan sa Kaisahan and I joined them at that time. And so dala-dala ko na yung idea ng critique ng non-representation. Kasi ang critique ng non-representation as far as we were concerned, how can you get across an urgent message about the national situation if people have to debate what your work means? Kasi walang objective na meaning eh. Very subjective ang non-representation. So kami, ang feeling namin, we would rather go to metaphors and figurative representation. And yung grupo ng Kulturang Atin sa Davao na nag-trigger ulit sa akin itong impulse for collective action, pareho rin ang idea. They were looking for local myths. They were part of a time when people were saying, tama na yung pakikibagay natin sa New York, sa Paris, sa London. Makibagay tayo sa sarili nating pinanggagalingan na kultura. That's why ang ginagawa ng Kulturang Atin noon is sa bundok ng Apo, the myth of the founding of Mount Apo. And they were staging it in Manila and in Davao. And kami naman sa Kaisahan, we were trying to re-evaluate Philippine history. Pinag-aaralan namin ng Philippine history. So sa akin, ang national situation na nag-a-apply doon sa blind leading the blind, parang yun nga, meron akong critical stance towards non-objectivism per se. I wanted to explore it from the point of view of, it was like a limited vision. Kaya yung metaphor of being blindfolded fell into that. And then, nung panahon ito, Si Ninoy Aquino was already very vocal from prison. So, you might notice na malakas na ang mga ugong ng resistance sa 6 na taon ng martial law. This had been already 6 years after the declaration of martial law. Medyo, mga tao, nagiging uneasy na yung mga tao na nag-uumpisa na naman mabuhay. Interestingly kasi, yung mga unang dinampot noong 1972, yung ilan sa kanila, after 3 years, pinakawalan eh. Parang ang feeling ni Marcos, nag-relax siya ng grip. What happened was they began to reorganize. No? So, ito na yung... In fact, this was already after the April 1978 noise barrage. April 1978 yun, yung unang rigged na batasang pambansa election eh. Kung saan sumali ang opposition for the first time after martial law. So yeah, yan ang I was in my 5th year of studies. I had transferred to painting in UST. Pero nasa na yan? Nasa hangin na yung idea na hindi na kasing takot. You have to imagine na yung unang 3 taon ng martial law, talagang takot ang mga tao eh. Ngayon medyo ulit eh. Siyempre, takot ka pa rin kasi hawak talaga ni Marcos talaga ang bayan eh. Hawak niya ang militar. Pero it was a kind of a different thing. And then at the same time, even si Ray Albano, who was then at CCP, he was saying, gumawa naman tayo ng sarili nating experimental scene. Wag lang tayong sumakay sa mga imported or colonial na Gawa naman tayo sarili. Kaya ino-organize nga niya through Ayala Museum experimental art exhibition. Kasi gusto niyang i-encourage na yung mga Pilipino get local material and experiment on it. So yeah, it was a time of the beginning of some unrest against Marcos. It was a time of the loosening of the controls of early martial law. It was a time also of the search by many Filipino artists for like a national practice, either in ethnic identity or in just experimenting with material that was inherent to Filipino culture. That's the idea. There were about 8 of us, I think, who participated in that. And what happened was one day siguro, mga 5 days before submission dun sa, kasi if I remember right, September 18, 1978, yung submission sa Ayala Museum. Mga siguro, mga September 12 siguro, yun, inorganize namin, isang buong hapon yan sa UST. Ang UST kasi 2 chamber ang studio, kaya maganda eh. There is a place where you don't see what's happening in the other side. And ang ginawa namin dun sa other side, each of the participants was required on a small sketchpad to make a conceptual thumbnail of what they were going to do. And then, papupuntahin namin sila doon sa kabila, iba-blindfold namin sila sa kabila, at pakakapain sa kanila, meron parang 1.5 by 1.5 na cardboard panel. Pakakapa sa kanila, tapos may nakalatag sa tabi nila ng iba-ibang mga pintura. Ini-explain namin sa kanila yung spectrum sequence. Kasi mga lata eh. Para mo makapa eh. And they were supposed to paint without being able to see what they were painting. And the whole idea was, it was supposed to be an experiment that if you could not see, how could you paint? So parang may konti siyang metaphorical twist on the idea of non-objectivity. Because akong feeling ko, sabi ko, painting nga ng mga bulag yung non-objectivity. Wala ka nang kailangan makitang katotohanan eh. It is just pure form. No? And so yun, the people who are still active in that, aside from myself, alam ko ay si Roger Santos, who is in the AAP, and one of the organizers of the AAP who's now a professor at UST, si Danny Santiago. But there were other guys like si Tomas Redolme, si Ben Ladrido, si Jesse Inyola, si Ruben Abenojar, sino pa nga ba? Mario Patdu. So 8 kami, ganun. Kasi we were trying to get 8 panels eh. And ayun, so I think it took us about siguro mga 3 kalahating oras na magawa lahat. Yung kasi iiwanan namin ng bawat artist na kakapain niya eh. Sabi niya, dito ba ang dilaw, ganun, dito ba ang pula? Siyempre kung alam mo yung spectrum, dilaw, pula, papunta sa berde, green, itim, ganun. And then kakapain nila, and they would try, from the thumbnail that they submitted to the group, they would try to replicate it without being able to see. So yun yung buong performance na yun.